Hi guys, welcome back. So today's writing session is a bit different because it's not a writing session but a plotting session. So my idea for this format is to take a prominent writing tool from a writing resource, a writing book for example, and combining it with some writing techniques, making it into something where we can follow a sort of guided approach to fleshing out an aspect of our story in a plotting, outlining kind of way. So no writing scenes, but rather constructing the story. And this format is also shorter than the other writing sessions because my idea here is to basically have something that is similar to a 10-minute workout you would do during the week when you don't have that much time, but in writing terms, so less than 30 minutes each. And today's session is all about conflict. So the tool that I want to use for this session is from Anatomy of Story, the four-corner opposition, which is all about figuring out your conflict in a way that gives it more layers and depth. So based on the four-corner opposition and how it works, combining it with some writing techniques, we'll be doing 4 exercises. The first 2 are 5 minutes each and the second 2 are 6 minutes each. No breaks, but again, instructions between each exercise for the next exercise. And because it is a plotting session, the output here wouldn't be scenes, but rather notes you take for your conflict and how it could shape out in the story. And also I want to mention that we are using the four-corner opposition as the guiding tool and will use some aspects of it, but will not apply the entire process according to John Truby's book, because that process would take more than 30 minutes. So to give you a quick explanation of how the four-corner opposition works. The four-corner opposition takes your hero and at least 3 opponents and positions each of them in one corner opposite of each other. All of these characters are competing with each other over the same thing or want to do the same thing, but they don't agree on how to do it. And the idea is that by having your hero and their belief attacked from 3 sides, in different ways, they are forced to confront their own beliefs and desires and the lie that they believe. So the four-corner opposition is supposed to represent a micro version of the society of your story and the different beliefs existing in it. That is also why you can have more than 3 opponents, but you need at least 3 for this exercise, and also why several characters can be positioned together in one corner as long as they all agree with each other. So take your hero and pick 3 opponents to focus on in this session. So the first exercise is, what are they competing over? Breaking it down into its essence, what the characters are competing over is some fundamental truth or some moral argument. And to figure out what that is, start with your protagonist and ask yourself, what is it that they want? What is their desire? And what is the lie that they believe? So what is their flaw, their misdirection, their misbelief? By figuring out what it is that your protagonist wants, what they are willing to compete over, you can figure out what it is that the other characters want and why they oppose the protagonist and how their moral arguments differ from the protagonist's. So each of these characters has a value in regards to the central conflict that is opposite to the other characters. That is why they are positioned in opposite corners, because each of them embodies a value that is very opposed to the others, and by pushing the characters as far as possible into these corners, you are basically enhancing the conflict by extremifying those positions and values. And to figure out what those values are, here are 3 questions that we're going to apply in this exercise as a starting point. So first, ask yourself, what is the morally good position to have in terms of your society of the story? What is the moral argument that maybe the hero embodies or the antagonist embodies? One of those extremes. And then going from there, what is the exact opposite argument? What is the most extreme version of that opposition? So if the first position was, this is the morally good thing, this would be the morally bad thing, and again assign it to someone, probably the hero or the antagonist, which gives you 2 corners, both extreme positions. And then the third question is, yeah, but scenarios for each of those positions. So if we take the good scenario where in your society, morally, it's the right thing to believe that it is never okay to kill someone, then the yeah, but situation would be, yeah, but what if I'm attacked? So that would make up another corner, and do the same thing for the morally bad position, for the other extreme, where everyone for themselves, yeah, but how are we going to build a functioning society? And this basically gives you the 4 corner starting points of how those values could differ from each other. Obviously, this is a very simplistic version of it, and you would want to make it more nuanced, but this is a good starting point. So each of these opponents are exceptionally good in their own ways in attacking the hero's greatest weakness. And by doing that, they force the hero to confront themselves, their misbelief, and in the best case, change because of it. And to figure out how each of those opponents attacks the hero, ask yourself the following 2 questions. First, what realization does the hero get from each opponent and their value position? So for each of those positions, ask yourself, by being attacked by the opponent, what does the hero learn about themselves? What is the realization that they get? And then the second question is, how could that play out? And for this, we're using the scenario technique. So for each of those opponents, make up 2 scenarios of how that realization could come about. One scenario, which is in a benevolent way, where the opponent tries to help the hero by making them realize it, and the other one is in the most malicious way. So not all opponents are villains who want to hurt the hero. Some of them are allies who just want to teach the hero something that they need to learn before they devastate themselves, right? And that could be done in a way that should help the hero, that is actually meant to help the hero, right? Whereas a complete villain would do it in a way to hurt the hero in the most devastating way. So for each of the opponents, figure out both of those scenarios and how they could play out. And the idea here is to have a starting point for how the conflict that we're starting to figure out could play out in the story itself in terms of scenes, so that it isn't just abstract, but actually a brainstorming starting point as well. So for the last exercise, what we're trying to get is a sense of why each of these characters believes that they're right and how they justify their own position. To do this, write 2 to 5 sentence short paragraphs in the voice of each of the characters where they justify their own position, why they're right, and why their actions are right. And if it's in line with the character, also try to get at those seeds of doubt that the characters have in terms of are they right, and also are the actions that they're taking justified. Okay, so this is it. Thank you for writing with me. And like I said, I am planning on doing more of these shorter plotting sessions. The idea is really to have more of those shorter work sessions that we can do during the week when we don't have that much time, so that we can still work on our stories. And other than that, I will see you next time. Bye guys.